thinking about them. And the story tonight, as I already indicated and you already know, is kind of easy to start looking at the deeper meaning about the storms of life. And you don't need me to tell you what the storms of life that you are experiencing or that I'm experiencing. Some we know about, and some, of course, are very personal and dear to us. But all I'd like to do today for a couple minutes is maybe dig a little deeper, maybe go a little further into the story, and then I'm going to leave it up to you to keep going, because you can work on this story a long time to get a greater application. So one of the things that strike me about the story is, first of all, one thing that most people overlook, and that's the fact that when Jesus came toward the walking on the water during the storm and so on, you know the story, Peter got out of the boat. Did you catch that? Because we usually miss it. The other disciples stayed in the boat. Now these were experienced fishermen. They have been out in the storms before. They knew probably that they could handle it. But Peter was bold enough to get out of the boat. Now to me that says he was willing to step out, to take a greater risk, to come to Jesus. He got out of the boat in order to come to Jesus. And then we usually add to the story that when Peter looked down and saw the waves is when he started to sink. The text does not say that. That's kind of a presumption that most of us have. But what happened? It said when Peter was looking at Jesus, and the text says, and he noticed the wind. It says nothing about the waves, but he noticed the wind. He was taking his eyes off of Jesus, and he was thinking about realizing all the things that were going on around him caused by the heavy winds of life. That's when he began to sink. And isn't that our experience, at least it is for me? When I'm having troubles and so on, I start to concentrate on the troubles. Think about the virus that we're experiencing. Don't most of us spend an awful lot of time, probably too much, thinking about the virus? I commented at the end of my bulletin article, turn off the television news, turn off your social media, and concentrate not on the wind, but on Jesus. And as I said earlier, you can also add to that perhaps some of the personal storms that you might be going through that nobody else really knows about. It could be health issues or financial issues or personal issues, whatever it might be. But don't concentrate just on them. That's the wind. Focus on Jesus. Now we focus on Jesus and we don't give up on him, even if the storms of life give us unanswered questions. That's usually something that we all have to deal with. Things happen to us and we say, why? Why is this happening to me? And again, that brings in the whole idea, who causes our problems? A lot of people think it's God, and it isn't. We have free will. Other people have free will. Some of the problems we experience are due to the frailty of life. Some are caused by the decisions we made, because when we make a decision, we don't always know the long-term effect. As I said earlier, we're not punished for our sins. Many times we're punished by our sins. We're punished by our bad decisions and the consequences that come from them, even though we don't realize that when we first made the decision. And can we entertain the possibility that we have things to learn? Story told about John C. Wright. Maybe some of you know him. He was a relatively famous science fiction writer, but he was an atheist. Didn't believe in God. So he composed this little prayer. And he said, "Dear God, even though I know you do not exist, being a scholar, I have to entertain the thought that I might be wrong." Have you ever prayed a prayer like that? God, I can entertain the thought that I might be wrong. That's when we refocus on Jesus. And then secondly, what we learn from the story is that in the middle of all of these storms that are going on around us, that we, instead of all of us, when something bad happens, we want it to go away. But maybe we should stay in the storm and realize what it's trying to teach us. Over in Africa, there is the Zambezi River. And it's the home of some of the fiercest rapids in the world. It's fed by the falls from Victoria Falls, the greatest waterfall in the world. And when you go on the rapids, the guide will tell you, when your raft flips, stay in the water, the fierce water. He doesn't say if the raft flips. He says when the raft flips, stay in the center of the water, stay in the stream. Why? Because he said if you swim over to the side where the waters are calm, that's where the crocodiles are. Isn't that life? Stay in the stream. Because so often in the calm waters is where we really get hurt. And then the third lesson from Peter, I think, is let nothing stop us from following Jesus. Even in the storms, even in the things we don't understand, even in the unanswered questions, we stay focused because Jesus can teach us. In our lives and in the world, there will always be spiritual evils. There will be physical dangers. There will be natural disasters. People will hurt us. Disease will infect us. Disappointments will wound us. Death will someday visit all of us. But only with faith can we trust. And only with love can we endure sacrifice. Focus on Jesus. That's what our parish is trying to do. That's what I hope you're trying to do. That's what our staff is trying to do. You already heard that this last week we had a virtual vacation Bible camp. And Ryan and her religious formation crew developed all of the videos, and everybody, the children, practiced everything in their backyard. That even in all of the troubles, our parish is alive and active and growing, trying to keep our lives focused on Jesus. So to summarize all this, they produced about a 3-minute video, if you watch it, of all the activities that our children did this week as they follow Jesus.
Thank you for watching this week's homily here at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. We invite you to join us for liturgy any weekend that you might be in the area. You can contact us at mysaintelizabeth.com or on Facebook. Thank you very much.